Hello, I'm Tony DeMaria, the editor of JACC, and as most of you know, we're going to have a new journal, JACC Heart Failure, addressing the increasing problem of heart failure in our society. And I have the opportunity today to talk to Dr. Chris O'Connor, the Chief of Cardiology at Duke University, who we were fortunate enough to attract as the editor-in-chief of JACC Heart Failure. So Chris, tell us a little bit about what you plan to do with the journal and what role you see it filling in clinical cardiology.
Well, Tony, thank you for the opportunity to really discuss this exciting program with JACC Heart Failure Journal. We really want to make this journal the #1 journal for heart failure in the world. Our goal is to attract the best research, the best knowledge advancement in the field, particularly around clinical research. And I think that by building a team of scholars, being global, and working closely with you, Tony, and the JACC family, we think we have an excellent opportunity to become the #1 journal in heart failure.
So tell us a little bit about your first issue, Chris. Heart failure is going in so many directions in terms of pharmacology and devices. What do you have in store for us in the first issue?
Well, the first issue is very exciting, and I think that we're excited finally after, as you know, working for almost a year now, 6 months actively with my team of associate editors to have this first issue come out next week. We have a really remarkable overview of the state of heart failure that's authored by Dr. Eugene Braunwald. And then there's a number of papers that I think are very important. They're addressing comorbidities, they're addressing biomarkers in heart failure. There are early phase studies addressing new strategies for therapy. Both in, we see papers in the early heart failure, sort of the early detection of heart failure, and in the most advanced phases of heart failure, patients who have LVADs, which is a very popular area now we're seeing more and more research come out of. So I think we see the broad spectrum, Tony, and I'm very excited about that.
I just saw an article that said that at the current time, apparently there's been 10,000 LVADs that have been implanted. So this is an increasingly important condition, I guess, that's confronted by almost all cardiologists. I know I'm frequently called to see such patients here at UCSD. I assume that you will probably have a fair amount of focus on end-stage heart disease.
That's correct. In the first edition, we have a very nice paper from the Cleveland Clinic looking at hospitalization, the type of hospitalizations following LVAD placement, and it's an important descriptive paper, I think, that all heart failure clinicians will benefit from.
What about pharmacologic advances? Do you have anything in the initial issue that deals with that?
We do, Tony. I think there's a couple areas that are very exciting. We have a paper looking at aldosterone antagonists and patients with preserved ejection fraction. As you know, that's an increasing and difficult condition to treat in the heart failure space. And so that's going to be a nice paper to precede the TopCat trial, which will be coming out later this year, looking at aldosterone antagonists and preserved EF. We also have a paper looking at adaptive servoventilation, ASV, in patients who have central sleep apnea in heart failure, a condition that now we think may be as high as 50% in patients with heart failure. And then some interesting pilot data looking at vitamin D supplementation in heart failure. So a couple of important and interesting advances in the therapeutic area of heart failure also.
Chris, you're making it sound awfully good. I can hardly wait to get my hands on the first issue and read it myself. I guess you'll have a mix of review and original research, and any particularly innovative formats, or the most important things that have typically been done in journals?
Well, right now the format is fairly traditional, although I think as the journal continues to evolve, we'll be doing more in the social media space and interactive space. We think that once we get this first issue out, we really want to see what the reception is like and see if how our audience responds to these very exciting new advances in the field.
Well, that sounds great. You'll join us, of course, on our Facebook page. I hope all of the viewers out there will friend us and view the JACC Facebook page. And as I said, this is an important step for the JACC family of journals. You've done a great job in putting together this first issue, and I'm sure the journal's going to be a rousing success. Thanks for sharing this time with us.
Well, thank you, Tony, and thank you for your guidance in this process. It's been a very exciting one, and I look forward to seeing what our audience says with this very first edition. Thank you.
Sure thing. For Inside JACC, I'm Tony DeMaria.